Hello again, welcome back to my channel. I'm Owen Morrill, and today we're going to be working on Backdrop. We're going to do a first post and fiddle with the editing and building a page and some of the things that you can do with that. So let's go ahead and get started. So this is our first post right here. As you can see, this is vanilla Backdrop, what you get when you get it installed. So if we go to either this gear icon, can edit and delete there, or if you go up to this admin bar, you can see we have add content, page, post, manage content. If we click on manage content, we're going to see your first post and about, because those come standard with an installation. So here we have our first post. We're going to go over to edit, and if the drop down has delete, we don't want to delete it. So click edit. Here we go. So this is our title, and for SEO purposes, you kind of want this is what's going to show up as an H1 or a heading 1, which is important for search engines and things on your site because that's what they're going to be looking for. So this bit's important. You want it to succinctly say what you want the page to be about, and if it's your home page, you know, there's keyword research and whatever else it is that you're aiming for your site to have. We are doing backdrop training videos, so we're going to call this first page backdrop training videos. Now, tags depends on how you end up using them. But the whole idea is kind of like, you know, what you see on Medium or LinkedIn or WordPress sites. These are tags that associate the content to, you know, certain categories or taxonomies or whatever. And I can make these be whatever I want. So we're going to do Backdrop CMS. We're going to do screencast. And we'll leave it at 2. I think the main idea is it's like 3 to 5 or something. I don't know. It always changes. Who knows? Alright, so the next one we have is our body. And first thing you're going to see is this little edit summary thing. Let me explain a little bit about how this one works. When you click on it, you're going to get another piece of content, another text area. Now this is separate in that you're not writing the body anymore. This is a special little field that's the summary. So if you end up building a view or something elsewhere on the site, you can choose if you want summary or the full text. So this is kind of like, you know, if you want to, you can do something here. If you don't, and we're not going to do it on this one, so we're going to hide it. If you don't, it'll just take the first section of this main body. So if you want to write it separately, that's how you would do it. One other thing. If you go to formatting options and you drop that down, you can see that we're working with filtered HTML. And filtered means exactly that. There are some things that are not going to be posted even if you put them in. So certain HTML tags, whatever it may be, they're not going to come through. If you click on it, you can see there's full HTML, which means that it is not going to filter out pieces. So if you ever have a problem with stuff showing up or not showing up, you can always switch it to full HTML, try it again, see what works or what didn't. So we'll go back to filtered because it has our next piece that we're going to work on. If I wanted to, though, this source button, that's the same type of input as what full HTML has right here, if that makes sense. It's HTML. And if you don't know HTML and you're working on content on a CMS like this, I would highly, highly recommend taking some online courses, even just looking at some YouTube videos about HTML and CSS. Just having a basic understanding of those two things is going to make your life so much easier as a content manager, editor, author, whatever it is. It's a great skill to have if you're in this field anyway. So you'll probably recognize these from Word. We have bold, italics, we have our block quote, which actually puts in HTML tags. And those can be styled differently, if that makes sense. So now I have this little thing, and if I go over to source, like we were talking about earlier, we're going to see block quotes. So that's what that does. So we'll do that. We'll get out of it. Oop. No, we won't. Oop. There we go. So now, if I type that in, I go to source, it's just p tags. P stands for paragraph, in case you guys are wondering. We'll add that one back in just because I want to see it in the end. Normal means P, it's paragraph. If you click on this, it drops down, you can see your other headings. Now, these are also going to get searched from the search engines, so use them. Don't just style it to look bigger or bolder or whatever. Make sure you're using headings, it's important. We'll just go ahead and make this one heading 3. We'll do regular there. Bulleted list, numbered list, technical writing tip for everybody out there. If it is a list that you have to go through, step 1, step 2, use a numbered list. If it is just a list of things like a packing list, blanket, pillow, toothbrush, whatever, bulleted list. See what I mean? If it's a logical progression that you have to do in like one at a time, then you want a numbered list. And definitely use a numbered list if it's progression or steps. Line left, center, and right. This is our link. So this is how you can write links or URLs. They're called anchor tags in HTML. But if I click on that, here's the value. So I can do HTTPS, google.com, and I want to change the link text to say Google. And if you click open in a new window, that means that when they click on the link, it's going to add, like, open another tab or another window, whatever it is. If you leave that unchecked, it will take them from the page they're on to that new page. So if you want them to stay on your site for whatever reason, and you're putting in an external link, go ahead and open that in a new window. Just think of, if you were visiting the site, what that link would mean, and if it would make sense to open a new window, or if it's just the next page in progress of going through the site. So click save there. I can add an image. I'm going to go through that in a detail in a later video, so we're not going to add it to this one. However, we do have some more stuff to go over. Publish promotion, publish options. Basically, let's say you want to work on something, you know it's going to take you a couple of days, you don't want to have it published live to the site yet. You just click draft or schedule for later, and you can have it publish automatically on the date and time that you want it to. We're going to stick with published. Promoted puts it in a list, and by default this means that it'll show up on the front page. Sticky at top of list is another kind of like categorization. You can use it later on, so if you have a group of content that's sticky, that means that they'll show up at the top of those lists. And promoted, you can use it elsewhere when you're building views and other things like that. So for the most part though, I leave them unchecked until I know how that's being used on the site. Authoring info. One interesting thing I just heard is that Google is putting more weight on the author of articles on websites. So if you can actually put your name in this, so that it, and later on in the template, themes, whatever, try to somehow link it back to your user on Google somewhere, it'll give you a nice big boost, especially if you're someone who's a prolific author, you have a lot of content out there, you're well known, you have some SEO juice in that way. That would be a big payoff. Obviously, it definitely needs to be you. That's not good if you're trying to do other people's. So revision, if you want to, you can create a new revision, and that means that whatever it was before, they will save that. So as you progress, let's say, you have to make a change to the site, but a month from now you're going to have to undo those changes, and maybe you don't want to come back and rewrite it. You can create a revision, and you can always go back and go back to other older revisions. So you can leave a note. It means like, don't keep this after December. Just however it works within your workflow. URL redirects. That means that instead of this node 1/whatever, if I wanted to add a redirect, I can. Or excuse me, node 1 doing something else is an alias. If I want to have something else, either have this page redirect somewhere else or have another page redirect to this page, this is where I would do it. I'm not going to do it in this video. We're going to move to URL settings. By default, this is the alias that you get. And you can see that's what shows up automatically. If you uncheck it, you can name it whatever you want. Very easy. And if you don't want to, you can always go back to the automatically generated. By default on this page, the comments are closed. If you click open, it's going to add the comments underneath that people can use. Comment on your posts, whatever it is. Since this is the home page, I'm going to continue to keep it closed. So when I click save, it's going to save all of that stuff, and hopefully my HTML will show up the way it's supposed to. So we'll take a look. Let's see. So we have these are called breadcrumbs. So they show up. So you can go back, forth, whatever. So if I was a couple of pages in, there would be other pieces on there. Here's my author. Go to my author page, tells me when. Here's our link out to Google, and here's our tags. Now by default, and this is pretty handy, if you click on these tags, it's actually going to pull up a page that shows you a list of all the content on your site with that tag on it. And you can see read more means that I am looking at a preview of this page and not the page itself. So if I click back, now we're back to my Backdrop training videos. And if I click home, should be, we have not set that as the home page. Let's go and do that really quick. It doesn't take too long. Go to configuration, admin, nope, not admin. Sorry. System, site information. Now I know that that is node 1 because that's the very first one that came with the site. So I can go down to front page, and I can change this either to node 1 or remember how the alias was posts and I changed it to my post rule. I'm going to stick with node 1 though. And I'm going to click Save Configuration. Oh, it's mad at me. Guess I didn't fill that in when I was installing. Now, when I go home, there's our Backdrop training videos. We have set a new home page, and it is there. One more quick piece while I'm thinking of it. Let's go back. Let's switch that back to home for the home page, because I want to show you what was there before, because we talked about having a site promoted to the front page. So we took that off. We don't have any front page content. However, we go to content, and we go to Backdrop training videos to edit. And when it pulls up, we go back down here and we click on promoted. Now, when we save it, it's going to show up on the home page in a list. And that's what promoted does by default. And we have our read more here, which means that we are actually looking at a preview of the full page. It's a small page though, so we can see everything on there. But that is how to build out your home page, how to add it as the home page inside a Backdrop. Lots of fun little features that come along with it, like scheduled publishing, draft mode, revisions. remember that tidbit about the author. There's a lot more emphasis on that from search engines. If you liked the video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, just ignore. Don't worry about clicking stuff. If you want to see more, subscribe. And if you have a question that you'd like answered, go ahead and leave us a comment and we'll make a video for you. We're going to be doing more Backdrop videos. We got an excellent reaction on Twitter from the Backdrop community about starting these videos. We're going to do more, as much as we can. Eventually we'll have a good little library video, or a video library built out, hopefully. Thanks. Have a good night.